This is how Wikipedia defines mediumship. Mediumship is the practice of purportedly mediating communication between spirits and the dead and living human beings. Practitioners are known as mediums. There are different types of mediumship, including spirit channeling and Ouija. Humans have been fascinated with contacting the dead since the beginning of human existence. Cave paintings by indigenous Australians date back 28,000 years, some depicting skulls, bones, spirits, and the afterlife. I'm not going to attempt the name, but this is a 35,000-year-old cave painting of a spirit. After my cousin died, my mom's brother-in-law told her that he saw his son, which is my cousin, floating behind his mom with no legs. That's what this reminds me of. Other cave paintings in Indonesia date back a further 10,000 years. Mediumship gained popularity during the 19th century when Ouija boards were used by the upper classes as a source of entertainment. Investigations during this period revealed widespread fraud, with some practitioners employing techniques used by stage magicians, and the practice began to lose credibility. Fraud is still rife in the medium psychic industry, with cases of deception and trickery being discovered to this day. Scientific researchers have attempted to ascertain the validity of claims of mediumship. An experiment undertaken by the British Psychological Society led to the conclusion that the test subjects demonstrated no mediumistic ability. Wow. Several different variants of mediumship exist. Arguably, the best known forms involve a spirit purportedly taking control of a medium's voice and using it to relay a message, or where the medium simply hears the message and passes it on. Other forms involve materializations of the spirit or the presence of a voice and telekinetic activity. Spiritualists classify types of mediumship into two main categories: mental and physical. Mental mediums purportedly tune in to the spirit world by listening, sensing, or seeing spirits or symbols. Physical mediums are believed to produce materialization of spirits, apports of objects, and other effects such as knocking, rapping, bell ringing, etc., by using ectoplasm created from the cells of their bodies and those of seance attendees. During seances, mediums are said to go into trances, varying from light to deep, that permit spirit to control their minds. Channeling can be seen as the modern form of the old mediumship, where the channel or channeler purportedly receives messages from teaching spirit and ascended master, from God, or from an angelic entity, but essentially through the filter of his own waking consciousness, or higher self. Mediumship became popular in the 19th century United States and the United Kingdom after the rise of spiritualism as a religious movement. A spirit operator is a spirit who uses a medium to manipulate psychic energy or energy systems. Okay, this man in the picture, his name is Colin Evans, and he claims spirits lifted him into the air but was exposed as a fraud. Mental mediumship is communication of spirits with a medium by telepathy. The medium mentally hears, called clairaudience, sees, called clairvoyance, and or feels, called clairsentience, messages from spirits. Directly or with the help of a spirit guide, the medium passes the information on to the message's recipients. When the medium is doing a reading for a particular person, that person is known as the sitter. Trance mediumship is often seen as a form of mental mediumship. Most trance mediums remain conscious during a communication period, wherein a spirit uses the medium's mind to communicate. The spirit or spirits using the medium's mind influences the mind with the thoughts being conveyed. The medium allows the ego to step aside for the messages to be delivered. At the same time, one has awareness of the thoughts coming through and may even influence the message with one's own bias. Such a trance is not to be confused with sleepwalking, as the patterns are entirely different. Castillo, 1995 states. Trance phenomenon results from behavior of intense focusing of attention, which is the key psychological mechanism of trance induction. Adaptive responses, including institutionalized forms of trance, are tuned into neural networks in the brain. In the 1860s and 70s, trance mediums were very popular. In the typical deep trance, the medium may not have clear recall of all the messages conveyed while in an altered state. Such people generally work with an assistant. That person selectively wrote down or otherwise recorded the medium's words. Rarely did the assistant record the responding words of the sitter and other attendants. Physical mediumship is defined as manipulation of energies and energy systems by spirits. This type of mediumship is claimed to involve perceptible manifestations such as loud raps and noises, voices, materialized objects, apports, materialized spirit bodies, or body parts such as hands, legs, and feet. The medium is used as a source of power for such spirit manifestations. By some accounts, this was achieved by using the energy or ectoplasm released by a medium. See spirit photography. So let's see spirit photography. One of Mumler's most famous images, purportedly showing Mary Todd Lincoln with a ghost of her husband, Abraham Lincoln. Wow. The type of photography whose primary attempt is to capture images of ghosts and other spiritual entities, especially in ghost hunting, and has a strong history dating back to the late 19th century. Spirit photography was first used by William H. Mumler in the 1860s. Mumler discovered the technique by accident after he saw a second person in a photograph he took of himself, which he found was actually a double exposure. Seeing there was a market for it, Mumler started working as a medium, taking people's pictures and doctoring the negatives to add lost loved ones into them, mostly using other photographs as basis. Mumler's fraud was discovered after he put identifiable living Boston residents in the photos as spirits. Light reflecting off dust particles. Unusual light sources were often interpreted as ghost lights. In spirit photography, Hill says that with the advent of digital photography, the ghost light is reimagined as an orb, and many paranormal-themed websites show pictures containing visual artifacts they are referred to as orbs. They are claimed and debated as evidence of spirit presence, especially among ghost hunters. However, such common visual artifacts are simply a result of flash photography, reflecting light off solid particles, such as dust or pollen or liquid particles, especially rain or even foreign material within the camera lens, and are especially common with modern compact and ultra-compact digital cameras. Fujifilm describes the artifacts as a common photographic problem. Wow, I did not know that. Clairalience, or clairsmelling, is the ability to smell a spirit. For example, a medium may smell the pipe tobacco of a person who smoked during life. Clairgustance, or clairtasting, is the ability to receive taste impressions from a spirit. Claircognizance, or clairknowing, is the ability to know something without receiving it through normal or psychic senses. It is a feeling of just knowing. Often a medium will claim to have the feeling that a message or situation is right or wrong.